Well, we're going to be doing our first Ask Pastor Bob here and just seeing who's all going to be joining in. So if you have questions, you certainly can put it up there and it'll show up on my iPad. Looks like we got 4 viewers so far. Welcome. And this is something new. Usually pastors will do this in like a cafe setting or church setting, but yeah, I've got Alan joining us. Good to see you, Alan Aguirre. How are you doing? We are getting Utah weather here in Wisconsin right now, so that's kind of cool. Alan, when are we going to get you to Wisconsin? We need to figure that out this year. It's just a matter of an airfare and some hoteling, and we could have a lot of fun discussing certain things with the church. Regina, welcome. Glad to see you coming on as well. Feel free to post topics, questions, whatever you want. That would be great. Good morning to you, Alan. Sam Mundy joined. She is a good friend and donated a bunch of clothing to our newest arrival coming in March. So that's a lot of fun. We are ready physically for the arrival of our new baby, but mentally I don't know that we're necessarily ready, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, Alan Aguirre, he is a member of started up Spyglass Blue and Scattered Few, and we've been talking for a long time now about getting you out here. So I think we need to do that probably this spring. I think that would be the way to go, and have what we call a recreational theology weekend where we talk about all sorts of things. Anybody else joining, feel free to post questions. It's going to show up right in my feed. I think this live feed goes for about a half hour, and then it turns off. So feel free to post whatever you like, and we'll talk about what's on your mind. I think that's a kind of a good way to do this. We have 12 people watching right now, so welcome everybody. Jackie Welch joined. Welcome, Jackie. She's from our church here in Wapaka. Just figuring out one of the things here. All right, so everybody from Wapaka surviving the snowstorm? Is that, you guys doing okay with that? My cousin Kristen just joined. Welcome, Kristen. She lives down in the Milwaukee area, and yeah, she's my older cousin. I'll just say that. One of the things we're hoping to do with this Ask Pastor Bob moment is just to have dialogue every Wednesday, and maybe we'll bump it up into the evenings as well. But we'll certainly see. Good morning, Jackie. Good to see you and weighing in on the message thread here. But one of the things we want to do is Radiant Fellowship's always been open to, and I've always been. Yes, you do, Kristen. You do have more hair than I do. Obviously, I've purposefully thinned out because otherwise it would just be male pattern baldness. We have about 9 inches of snow here from overnight since yesterday, so 2-hour delay on getting the kids to school today because of the school system, but yeah, 9 inches is pretty decent for our area, and that's on top of a big snowstorm already. But one of the things we do at Radiant Fellowship is we put a phone number on our screen on the PowerPoint so that people can text in while the message is going. We like to engage in conversation and like to turn the message into something more than the stereotypical spectator sport, which I feel we're guilty of. A lot of churches are guilty of. So that's why we're doing this as well. Like I said before, some pastors like to use the arena of a cafe or their own church or something like that. But quite honestly, it's nice just to stay in too and answer questions and just have an open conversation. Well, Jackie, I'm glad you were able to check out the live feed while on break at work. This must have fell right at the right time, and that's really cool that you were able to do that. Hope you are having a good day at work, that you've made it safely to work in your Chevy Volt in all the snow. I'm sure that's a heavy car because it's a lot of batteries in that, so I'm going to be venturing out later to go to St. Elizabeth Hospital to visit a friend that's in the ICU over there, but just waiting for the streets to clear up a little bit so that we can get in there. Dave Vile, how are you, buddy? You just joined, and Dave's another guy from the church. And glad you could join us. Retired, so of course you got time on your hands, right? So, Alan, what topic should we talk about if you're still on? What topic should we talk about when you come out? Hopefully this spring, I can start looking at airfare tickets and stuff, and maybe make it a Saturday and a Sunday event. A lot of people watching, few people actually weighing in. This is kind of new for people, I understand. When I first posted on Radiant Facebook's page that we're going to be doing Facebook Live on Sunday mornings, there were a lot of people that were wondering what this was all about. And the reason for that is because Facebook actually did a soft launch on this. Now there's Periscope and um, different things like that, but this seems to be the way to go in regards to church service. And we have last week we had about 40 some people joining us live. That's really cool. I agree, Alan. That would be cool. We can talk about how Torah is still applicable. And yep, Jackie passed 7 cars on the side of the road, and yeah, we'll definitely drive safe tonight. Um, we can talk about the kingdom of heaven and what that can look like now. I think that's a fantastic topic. These are topics that we don't necessarily talk about a whole lot in church capital C very often, and I think people, I don't know why people write off the Torah. At our church we talk about it quite often, the first 5 books of the Bible, and I think people are afraid to talk about what they don't know or understand or study, and yet we're okay talking about a ton of other things in the form of opinions. We just had one person private message saying, I just got busted being on my smartphone at break, so they have to leave. Nice. Rebels, all of you. This weekend I'm looking forward to church. We're going to be hopefully have some good conversation with the topic we're doing. Sam Mundy asks, Bob, are you familiar with 119 Ministries? I'm not. I don't know if you have a website or can explain to me what that is. And Alan says we can talk about Genesis 6 and how that is going to impact us today and tomorrow. I'm all for that. I've been talking to Tracy quite a bit about your visit with us, and I think Joshua 5 and the circumcision at Gilgal. I think it would be cool to do a Saturday sort of seminar series, hitting topics that may not always be the most hit on at churches, but man, we could certainly do something all Saturday into Sunday, do lunch and dinner thing, and just kind of have a good time of conversating. Alan says, love 119 Ministries. So yeah, I would like to find out more about this. Shoot me a link, private message me, or put it up here on this message thread, and I would find out about it. What is 119 Ministries, Alan or Sam? My cousin Kristen says, okay, was changing a diaper, sorry, but this is awesome. Just another avenue to get your down-to-earth, honest thoughts out there. What you have to say is valued by many. Well, thanks. I was always raised, my dad telling me to be quiet, but that's just joking. But I'm glad that we're able to do something like this. It'll be an ongoing weekly occurrence, and if people ask for an evening we can certainly do that. Ben Aldrich, you are there. The missus is doing well, and the baby, doing well, hasn't quite made the appearance yet. We're hoping for March 11th, but I don't know that that's going to necessarily happen. But Tracy's doing very well. She has loved every moment of being pregnant. I don't think I've heard her complain once about it. Maybe that happens when you don't have your first baby till 36, and for me 41, being in that area. Alan Aguirre says 119 Ministries, they're Torah observant Gentiles with great video teachings on Torah. So Amber, welcome. Amber Winkleman, glad you could join us. the various convoluted positions in the light of the Bible. So 119ministries.com. My son is very into it and it concerns me a little. Okay. Well, so Sam, are you saying you like 119 Ministries, or the jury's still out on that? Because I know that you always have a lot of questions in regards to ministries, Christianity, the institutional church, things like that. So my other cousin Brenda is joined us. Welcome, Brenda. Glad you could be a part of this online. Ben Aldrich, how are you guys doing? Are you doing well down there? I think you live in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. Just waiting for some input on 119 Ministries. I'll certainly look it up when I'm offline here, but for now I don't have any resources to look at it. I'm actually broadcasting on my iPad with my computer here, thus the glare that you see bouncing off this forehead of mine. But that's I will certainly dive into this and look into this, and I respect the advice and the words from my friend Alan, who's on this. And like I said before, Alan started the Christian punk band Scattered Few back in the day, and has done a band called Spyglass Blue as well, and Men as Trees Walking. I saw Scattered Few live quite a few times. Brought Spyglass Blue in to our youth group in Milwaukee. I thought it was going to be a big event, but a lot of fellow Assembly of God youth pastors did not look favorably upon that, and so they didn't come, but we still had a fantastic time. And then we had Men as Trees Walking up at our church here in Wapaka. So Alan says, regarding 119 Ministries, they have a great series called The Pauline Paradox that does a great job clearing up his position on the subject, since he's Christianity's poster boy for anti-Torah. Now, isn't that something? That churches view Paul as the anti-Torah person, when in fact he endorses it heavily and is well steeped in it as well. Yeah, that's something else. That's a whole nother discussion beyond what we have here in the next 17 minutes. But I'm thankful that we have this. Maybe our talk next Monday can be on 119 Ministries. How about that? We'll certainly look into that. Amber Winkleman, I know you're sitting out there with questions. You certainly can ask. Carmen, welcome. Another cousin of mine from Oklahoma. So that's good to have you, Carmen. Not to be confused with Carmen, Carman, the Christian singer. But no, my cousin Carmen, I haven't seen you in years. I've always wanted to get down to Oklahoma and been to Kansas, Missouri, all over the place, but never quite down as far as Oklahoma. All right. Anybody else? Different thoughts? Oh, there we go. Amber says, I'm just lurking and checking out the conversation. Well, good. I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are weighing in and joining in. My cousin Kristen says, I confuse them constantly, the Carmen and Carmen. Yes, I agree. The addicted to Jesus versus the female version, which is our cousin. Alan said, we need to read Paul's writings as a rabbi instructing Gentiles in the faith and not a Roman citizen writing those letters. I agree. You know, one of my favorite, two of my favorite comedians, which are very much against the typical Christian comedian realm, are Eddie Izzard, number one, intelligent humor, a little crass, but intelligent, and a history buff, and Lewis Black. And Lewis Black has made it quite clear that you don't see rabbis interpreting the New Testament, do you? Do we? And he says that because pastors today, myself included, I look back on some of my old sermons and just realize, like, what was I talking on? He says, in other words, then you don't see rabbis interpreting the New Testament, so You New Testament pastors, leave the Torah alone unless you have something intelligent to say. But one simply does not go wrong listening to Eddie Izzard or Lewis Black if you can deal with the language. There is a language alert. Ben said, I'd like to play bass sometime for Radiance Worship Team. Wink, wink. LOL. Hey, man, invitation's there. Come on up. That'd be awesome. Ben Aldrich, the monster of Cornerstone, in the house at Radiant Fellowship. That'd be great. Jackie says, Bob, I've lived in Oklahoma for 2 years. You're not missing much. LOL. Oh, Carmen, don't be offended by that. Jackie means well. I don't know, really, but Anna, welcome. Glad you could join us, Anna Abrams, a fellow Christian up here in Wapaka that attends a different church, and we all attend the same church, by the way, don't we? I mean, the Radiant Fellowship. I can say for our church at Radiant Fellowship, every church has a liturgy, and so what we do is we have countdown video, song, welcome songs, and then I come up and pray. And more times than not, probably 9 times out of 10, we go down the list. We pray for Faith Community Church, Shepherd of the Lakes, Trinity, First Assembly of God, Parfreyville, St. Mary Magdalene. We just pray that, that God would meet with them and have a great day, because, Radiant Fellowship, we're not the only ones in town, and we're certainly not the only ones that get it. There are a lot of other churches too, so Anna is part of the big church, and glad you're a part. Debbie, welcome. Debbie Tabor, my fellow Chuck Taylor fan. Brian Jacquet, Rick Hope joined. Rick's on the other end of the broadcasting today. He is the guy that runs our streaming service every week. So he's sitting behind in his little isolationist / introvert cubicle in the back of the church with the computer that streams the service live every Sunday over our website. So we do a live streaming service. That's everything. It's not the best camera image ever, but you know what? It gets the job done. And we only spent between computer and camera, we spent probably about $800. And that was enough, because I think a lot of churches, they spend upwards of $10,000 for the system, and video will never take the place of the live experience. So we want to provide something, so we do the live experience, and then we also do Facebook Live. We've decided to stop Periscope. We won't cancel our account with that. We'll use it here and there, but we decided Facebook Live. Brian Jacquet, thank you. He said, I am good background noise for his office. Very nice. Brian, we're still waiting on that monitor, so. But it's snowy, so I understand. Brian actually, his wife leads worship at Radiant Fellowship, and then Brian is a sound guy and just a lot of different hats to wear. Ben says it does its job, as in the streaming you do. I enjoyed it. Good. Well, I'm glad. I think it does the job, and quite honestly, I think it's an embarrassment when a church, again, if you don't know me, I'm somewhat opinionated. I think before I talk before I think, and but I think it's an embarrassment when churches spend thousands of dollars on a streaming video feed. When in fact it's, you can just throw up something and have something nice, but at the same time doesn't need to be thousands of dollars, when that could be going into benevolence ministries or helping a family out, or multiple families on that account. So Brian Jacquet said, it's not your best angle either. I don't have a best angle. I really don't. I'm a 41-year-old guy with a beard and bald head. I have no best angle, and so this is best I can do. What it is my iPad sitting on my desk, and it's kind of propped back a little bit, and so it's coming up on an angle. So I did raise it up a bit, but like I said, Brian, you said it's not my best angle, but 41-year-old, male pattern baldness, beard, there is no best angle available at this point. So again, it is what it is. Meg Servio joined us. She is an awesome friend. Her husband and I have known each other for years. And Megan was one of the ladies that helped put the baby shower together for my wife and Noah. Charles Goki, welcome. Glad you could join us. Charles Goki, the brother of the famed Danny Goki, and we all used to hang out back in the day. I won't share stories of how I got to know the Goki family when we were teens, before I was even a youth pastor. But I will. Charles is so cool because he was the first one this last summer to offer to ride on my behalf in the Best Damn Bike Tour, which is a big nationwide ride for to raise awareness and funding to find a cure for multiple sclerosis, of which I was diagnosed back in March of 2015. So, Charles, hello. Brian, I'm glad I reminded you. I look forward to your visit at 4:15 with monitor in hand. What happened was at church, one of our monitors went kaput, so I put my little TV in the sound booth and used it for a while, but then I ended up hooking in a bunch of video games at home and needed my TV back. And monitors are a dime a dozen. Again, no reason to spend money on things that people in the church might have just laying around. And so I put it out there, and I had 4 monitors come in, but only one has HDMI, and Brian has it. And so I'm thankful for all the monitors that came in, but again, why spend $200 on a monitor when people have these things laying around? So Ben says, I know a pastor who don't like the streaming because he thinks that less people will come to the services. I agree with you, as your sign says behind you, says simplify, or the KISS method. Yeah, KISS means keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple and everything. So, keep it simple. I mean, have we lost people to the streaming service? I don't think we have. It makes it easier for people to stay in on a snowy day, like we're having right now here in Wapaka, Wisconsin. But I don't think, if anything, we've grown. Here was the deal. We were saying that we entered a building project that only cost us $800, and we added dozens of people within weeks of doing this. And what our building project is starting the streaming service, so people can interact and everything. Welcome, Kevin Chudzik. Glad you could join us. Another guy from Radiant Fellowship. I did him and his wife's wedding over the summer. But if nothing else, we have people that are joining us from South Wisconsin and overseas and everything on a regular basis. We even have a lady that lives, not a missionary, but her and her husband actually live in South Africa, born and raised there. And we actually Skyped in with them one morning because she was dealing with a cancer diagnosis. So we Skyped in with her and prayed with her as a church because she was part of our church online. So I think it's really cool, but there's no reason to make it a huge production where you have to hire staff to run it and spend thousands of dollars on this streaming thing. This has been great for church, and I would hope more churches use Facebook Live, but I don't interact on Facebook Live this much on Sundays. I will point out to people that came on and say welcome and stuff, but to pop in with questions, I'll do my best. Maybe I'll start doing that this Sunday and make it an interactive thing between audience and Facebook audience. So Jackie says it definitely does the job. I think the video feed should encourage viewers, if able, to come to our church. There's nothing like being at Radiant Live. And that's true. Here's the thing. Sometimes I do freelance work, and you see my face go dark. It's because my monitor shut off. I do freelance work, and the websites I put up for these companies, it makes them look larger than they are. One is a solar company, and people have called in and thinking they're going to get a reception is everything, and really it's just a guy in his kitchen working. And Radiant Fellowship's that way. We have a large online presence, and when people come to the church, they realize we're about 70 people, and but online we're over 100 easily of people. And so that's really cool. And people, if they want, they can give online and all of that. So hey, I got 5 minutes until the end of the live video. So any last questions that you have? And what's cool about this live video is that it keeps my sermons at a half hour. Now, if I really am inspired, I'll start the video again, but I certainly We usually don't go that long. My uncle, who was a pastor and author, always said a good pastor doesn't need 20 minutes to deliver a message, and an inexperienced pastor can't use 20 minutes. So, but I think that's different than what Alan and Aguirre and I want to do this spring by bringing him in and having all day conversation about all different things. And those are the conversations we ought to have in churches, where you walk away, maybe agree, maybe disagree, maybe your feathers got ruffled a little bit, but at the end of the day, hey, we're going out for dinner together and enjoying conversation because we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. So any other thoughts? Boy, this Facebook Live is quite on it. Every minute it tells me 4 minutes until it ends. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that you're able to do this. Weekend slumber party, absolutely. My cousin Chris says, have a great day, stay warm, and squeeze your babies and your radiant wife. I will do that. That's not a problem. Thanks for joining us, Kristen. Ben Aldrich, I hope you can make it to Audio Feed. I would like to go to Audio Feed. I've actually talked to Tracy about coming down this year. We'll see what happens. I'm rooting for the Broncos in the Super Bowl. I want Peyton to go out and retire on a high note. And I don't know. After that interview, I didn't like the Panthers quarterback dressing all that way and stuff. So, Dolores, you fill the gap on your Sunday stream. When I tune in, I know that the message is good and gives a good message that I can share with others. Well, good. I'm glad you can. And Dolores, you're a great support to our church. Prayerfully, financially, everything. And thanks for sending your son our way to run the online part of it. But Ben, yes. Alan, have you been to Audio Feed yet? I would like to. I'm thinking about going this year, but I'm not sure. Logistically, with the new kiddo in tow, we'll see. Is it family friendly like Cornerstone was? Ben says very family friendly. Well, good. Yeah, we will see about coming down, and Tracy will be. Actually, that would be the main thing as regarding why we wouldn't be able to make it down to Audio Feed, is because she was just going back to work, and after having 12 weeks off from delivering Noah. So we'll see what happens. But all right, well, hey, thanks for joining me on this first Ask Pastor Bob. Again, we don't necessarily want to say we're going to do it in a cafe or a church or anything like that, but rather right in the comfort of your own home. And technology is a beautiful thing. And my cousin Brenda, hey Bob, it was great listening to you. Hey, you have a great day too, Brenda. I hope let's get a family reunion together. I think that needs to happen. And Rick, who would win the lightsaber battle between Darth Vader and Kylo Ren? Vader. It's just Vader. He would. And Carmen, we'll be praying for you for your foster daughter at 2:00. So are you Central Time? And I know exactly what you're going through. We had to do the same thing. Dave, thanks. I will drive carefully to Appleton. I'm going to go tonight, actually, once they have the streets cleared and everything. So I'll give an update on how our friend from Radiant is doing at the hospital. All right, everybody, you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us. See you next Wednesday at the same time.